Coming in at the #1 spot, we have Elementalist Detonate Dead. The real reason is it just gets so much damage. It just carries it hard. That's the main defining thing. You get so much damage for free. Essentially for free. Ratings. I'd give the rating of the boss damage a 9 out of 10. You really, like, I've said it, but you just really get so much for free on, like, poo-poo gear. So, kind of hard to beat. Clear speed, 7 out of 10. It's decent. It's nothing crazy. It is, like, pretty fast. I mean, you clear pretty fast, but it is kind of dependent on if you're comfortable with the 2-bum playstyle, too. If you can play that smoothly. If you can't play it smoothly, that might get knocked down a couple tiers. Defense, 5 out of 10. It does kind of lack on defense. On bossing, you get pretty meaty chills. And you get Bastion of Elements while mapping, but it's really nothing crazy, so you might die here and there. So, the reason you'd want to play this build is, say you really value getting the bosses down quick, or you like a really, really smooth build that throughout the whole way it just feels good. Because you just get so much damage for no reason. Well, not for no reason. It's baked into the skill gem and with the specters. So, yeah. That's why you'd want to play this. Next, #2. Boneshatter. Slayer Boneshatter. So this build is if you really value going fast early. I'd say the boss damage is only like a 3 out of 10. It's really not very good. You don't have good damage uptime, you're melee, you gotta keep those trauma stacks up. It is kind of rough. So you're not really looking at a main bosser right here. I mean, you can definitely do all bosses, but you're gonna like have to be pretty good to be able to do them smoothly. Clear speed is a 10 out of 10. In terms of league starters, I don't think really anything beats this for clear speed. It zooms. Defense is an 8 out of 10 if you make sure you hit stuff. If you don't hit stuff and you get like big projectiles thrown at you, you will die. You really need to make sure your leech is up and your fortify is up. That's the bulk of your defense. So this comes in at a total of 21 out of 30. Same as LED, but this build focuses much more on clear speed, and it is quite a bit tankier, as long as you keep your leech up. #3, coming in, RF Inquisitor. So this is another build if you kind of value the smooth start. Can't really go wrong with this. That being said, the boss damage is kind of lackluster. It has pretty decent uptime, but it's really not crazy, and you'll need some pretty good gear to make it really scale past like 2 million or so. So yeah, boss damage 4 out of 10. Clear speed's 7 out of 10. You just shield charge through. Occasionally use your Infernal War Cry or Infernal Cry, pop the enemies, throw your fire trap, whatever. Early on it is kind of rough when you first get into the maps, so it does take a little bit for that to scale. I'd say it's a little bit slower than that when you first, like very, very first get into maps. But the main upside of this build is that it's like really, really tanky for early game. You just get a ton of regen, and the energy shield is also really good. But you make up for that a little bit with the boss damage being low and kind of the rough start to maps. So the total score here comes at a 20 out of 30. Next, Boneshatter. So this build is if you like just never want to die. You don't want to die, you play this. Boss damage is only like a 2 out of 10. Really, it's pretty rough on the damage, especially if you're not used to like HC's EDPS builds. This is pretty rough on the damage side. Same thing as Slayer Boneshatter, except Slayer gets a little bit more damage. The upside of Boneshatter is that you kind of face tank a little more. I mean, you can face tank on Slayer too if you keep your leech up, but Jug's really like idiot proof. Clear speed's 7 out of 10. It's not quite as fast as Slayer, but it's still pretty good. It's still Boneshatter. Still sleep around and slap packs. Defense 10 out of 10. That's the main point of this build. You don't want to die. This is your build. Jug Boneshatter. Elementalist Cold Dot coming in at number 5. I really just... I don't see a reason to play Cold Dot when there's DD, honestly. Like, you might think the rating's a little low. It's at the bottom of the list, but I don't really see why you'd pick it over DD. DD does way more damage. It's essentially the same defense. On DD, you still get like 40% chills on bosses. I don't really know why you'd pick Cold Dot over it unless you like the playstyle, but I think DD is the better pick if you're gonna go one of those two builds. And Cold Dot is kind of like when you're clearing packs, you like have to use Vortex, you Cold Snap, Creeping Frost. So you do have like quite a few buttons. Vol, Cold Snap. So that could be kind of a downside for some people, but it is still a smooth start. Still pretty good. So boss damage, 6 out of 10. It's pretty hard to go past 3 million or so. So it's pretty quick to get to like 2 million, but it caps out relatively early, around 3 million. It's tough to get past that point, but you do get a lot of damage up front. So that's like, this is another one of the builds where it's really smooth throughout the whole way. Clear speed, 7 out of 10. You just run through, drop your Vortex, and maybe a few other spells to help clear the pack, but defense, 5 out of 10. You get the big chills, you get the Bastion of Elements. It's pretty similar to DD, except you're using Cold Dot, but they both get, like, chill, so I think... So the fact you still get chill on DD, I think you'd opt for DD, and it's a little bit more straightforward to play, I think. You don't have to drop so many different skills. I mean, they're relatively similar, but... Yep. So... I will, in the description, I'll link the videos of other creators who actually made, like, POBs on those builds, because I didn't, so for the... Well, for the Elementalist DD, that one is me, obviously, because all I play is Dead Dead. But the other ones, for Slayer Boneshatter, it'll be Carn's build. I'll link the video in the description. For RF Inquis, it'll be Pohx. I mean, can't go wrong with him. If you need information, I mean, you're gonna have a whole wiki. Like, you're gonna have a whole wiki on Fire Trap that's bigger than the actual Path of Exile wiki. So, if you really need your hand held, you probably want to go this build. Jug Boneshatter will be Goratha's video, and then Ellie Cold Dot will be Ventrua's video. So, if you want those, make sure to take a look in the description and check out those videos. And that is about it. I can try and think of an honorary mention here for builds. Maybe like Hex Blast Mines. I have no idea about that build, but I've heard people say it's good, so maybe you want to go that build. Scion Cold Dot also. Any other honorary mentions? Let me think. Let me look through here. What do I got? Yep. Seismic Trap Assassin, Juggernaut. I don't know. That's if you really want to do bosses, but you're probably gonna do 6 portals a map. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, Blazing Salvo, Deadeye Mines. Yeah. Honorary mentions complete.